Today we continue our hike southbound through the Cumberland Valley, starting with a rainy morning hike.
We were two kids, street racing down the shitty streets.
So morning of day two. Yesterday I kind of overhiked and hiked too far into the Cumberland Valley, which restricts camping. There's no camping within the valley, so I had to stop and get a motel room in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, which was just off the trail, so it wasn't really a big deal, but and my day was a little longer than I expected. I ended up hiking 17 miles yesterday, but today we're continuing through the Cumberland Valley, pretty flat, and then up the other side out of the valley up to a shelter campsite. I haven't decided yet, but so probably 14 miles or so, I'm thinking. But it's going to rain here shortly. I looked at the radar and it's coming, so going to have the morning walking in the rain, and then this afternoon it's supposed to clear up and be sunny, and then be sunny the rest of the time for me here in Pennsylvania. So just got to get past this rain today, and then we should be clean and green after that. So, but steamy morning, very humid. It's feels like a rainforest in here right now. It's very, very thick. Bugs haven't been too bad. I kind of thought the bugs would be bad, but you know, here and there they've been buzzing in my ears, which I still don't understand that, but they have a fixation for your ears. So I put my hood up. I've got a sun hoodie. I put my hood up, and my hoodie's been treated with permethrin, so it seems to keep them away, at least from my ears. So, but even though it's dreary, it's still a beautiful day on the trail, and we're going to continue hiking today and enjoy this time. We're also going to pass through Boiling Springs today, so I'm going to grab a sandwich on the way through town for tonight's dinner, and that's about it. So we're going to continue moving south in this case, and we're going to hike it out. It's starting to rain. It's pretty light right now, and it's warm and humid, so it's not cold at all. If anything, it feels good. But I got my raincoat on, so we're good to go. So let's talk trekking poles for a bit. Trekking poles, in my opinion, for a long distance hiker are essential. I don't always use them. If it's flat like it is here, I just put them in one hand and hike, because you can go faster not using your poles than you can using your poles. So when it's flat, you just get out and fly. But the trekking poles are essential for uphills and to help with a sketchy downhill area. I'm using a set of Leki poles. They're collapsible. They have numbers on them, so you know how far to extend them, which is handy if you have a trekking pole tent and you have to get it to, 118 or 115 or whatever the specs are. Also, you can find the marks, so your perfect fit's there every time. These are aluminum poles. They're not the lightest poles you can buy. You can get carbon fiber poles that are much lighter than these. But the problem with carbon fiber is that they'll break. And if you fall, which you will, you break the tip off, and then you'll have a pole and a half for the rest of your hike, which isn't a good thing. So at least with the, well, here's some water. I don't really need it, but at least if you bend them, you have aluminum poles, you fall, you bend them, then you can bend them back into shape. You probably won't be able to collapse them, but you can at least use them for the rest of your hike till you get to an outfitter to replace them. So again, I'd say they're essential. On a climb, they really help your knees. They put some of the weight on your upper body and get some of the weight off your knees. So I'll put the description of these poles that I have in the comments below, and let me know what you think. What's your favorite pole to get into a road crossing? So I'm checking out. Okay, so let's talk about hiking in the rain, since we're hiking in the rain. Typically I bring a jacket and I put it on top of everything in a 1 gallon Ziploc bag. The jacket I'm wearing right now is an outdoor Research Helium jacket. Extremely ultralight, hasn't soaked through yet. Very good jacket. Very lightweight, so you have to be careful if you're going through thorns and things like that, because you'll just tear it right open. But it's been a great jacket. I've had it probably 4 years or so now. Haven't had any issues with it. I have hiking pants that match. They're also outdoor Research, but I rarely use them because they're hot. If you're hiking in reasonable weather, you're just going to get hot in them. So but if it's 40 degrees, like we were up in New York, we were probably in the low 40s and it was raining and it was windy. You have to have hiking pants, or you have to have rain pants, because you'll freeze to death. And so it just depends on the temperature, whether or not they're required or not. Right now it's about 70 degrees, and so I don't even have my hood on. I'm just getting wet on top. I have my coat on, but other than that, I'm fine, and it actually feels good. So the other thing is protection of your pack. Pack covers don't work. Don't waste your time on them. The water just runs down your back and runs into your pack. They may help a little bit for just covering up what gets on the outside, but they're pretty useless. Now my backpack is waterproof, but I still use a pack liner just in case, because it's simple, it's easy, it doesn't weigh anything. It's kind of a no-brainer. So what I use for a pack liner is I use a Home Depot lawn and leaf bag. Just the same thing you would get to put your leaves in at Home Depot, and it's a Home Depot brand. They're heavy duty enough that you won't puncture them, and they'll take some pretty good abuse. And I just put it in. I just line the whole inside of my backpack with this lawn and leaf bag, and then I just roll it over in the top. And then when it starts to rain, I pull the drawstrings tight, and I've never had a drop in my pack. And the last pack I used was not waterproof. It just got soaking wet, but I never had a single drop inside of my pack. So very effective, very cheap, very easy. Now they make Nioflume pack liners. You can buy them from a lot of the outfitter stores, but I don't care for them because they're narrow, and you got to fight with them sometimes because the gear just is sticking through it and whatever. So the lawn and leaf bag is way oversized, but it's just easy. You just stuff it in the middle of it. You stuff all your stuff in there. It's no muss, no fuss, and great, just a great insurance policy. I've walked all day in the rain, hard rain, never had a drop of water. So, hiking in the rain, it's not the end of the world. I don't love it, but, if you got to do it, you got to do it. But if you're prepared and you're ready, it ain't a big deal. My shoes get wet. I don't use waterproof shoes either. I typically don't. I have some, but typically don't because they don't always work either. So I just use trail runners, and the trail runners get wet. Your socks get a little wet, but they dry out extremely fast. Once it stops raining, your shoes and your socks will dry up real quick. So hope this helps. And I'm at a road crossing again, so I'm gonna check out here. I'll put the information for all this gear in the comments below, and if you've got any things that'll work good for you, please share it with the group in the comments.
As the Appalachian Trail passes through Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania, hikers arrive at one of the trail's most memorable small towns. Named for the natural springs that feed the crystal clear waters of Children's Lake, Boiling Springs has been welcoming travelers for centuries. The trail winds directly through town, offering beautiful views of the lake, historic buildings, and a peaceful break from the rocky miles of Pennsylvania. It's easy to see why so many hikers remember this place. A quiet, scenic stop to recharge before continuing the journey along the Appalachian Trail.
So this is the Boiling Spring. I guess there's a bunch of springs around here, but this is the one right downtown. It flows right out into this lake. Pretty spot.
They got that heat blues. Those days are over, but I got you, yeah. We were the restless ones, trying to find a way back home. We were the restless ones, trying to find a way back home.
Leaving the peaceful waters of Boiling Springs behind, the Appalachian Trail continues through farmland and begins its steady climb up to Center Point Knob. The easy miles through town quickly give way to the forests and ridgelines that define so much of the Pennsylvania Trail experience. With every step upward, the views stretch farther and the sounds of town fade into the background. It's a reminder of what makes the Appalachian Trail so special. One moment you're walking through a historic trail community, and the next you're immersed in the solitude of the mountains. Thank you for joining me on this section hike. If you enjoyed the journey, be sure to like, subscribe, and come along for the next adventure here on Outsiders Recharge.